Welcome back to the channel Binpipe School. I am Bijayalakshmi. I am here to explain about nutrition in amoeba, a simple unicellular animal. Now we know that amoeba is unicellular, and apart from amoeba we have examples like paramecium and euglena too. Now organisms which are made up of one cell are called as unicellular. Now amoeba is one of them. And since this one is there in your syllabus, we have to know it more better. Now amoeba is a simple unicellular aquatic protozoa, you can say. Now it stays in fresh water. It is a freshwater organism generally found in ponds, lakes or water pools. And it is microscopic in nature, that means it cannot be seen in naked eyes, and it feeds on microscopic animals such as bacteria and decaying food particles, even microscopic plants that are floating in water. Now its mode of nutrition is holozoic in nature, and the process of obtaining food is called as phagocytosis. Now this is a common question which is asked generally, that what is phagocytosis? Phagocytosis is nothing but cell feeding, or you can say the process by which an amoeba obtains its food is called as phagocytosis. Now all the process of nutrition is shown here in amoeba. Now first of all, let us know the different parts of amoeba. Amoeba being a single celled organism, it has a cell membrane, and here the cytoplasm is denser in the edges. That's why it is called as ectoplasm here. The denser part, or you can say the gel part, and the less dense region is called as the endoplasm. It has a nucleus and there is a contractile vacuole. Now the purpose of contractile vacuole is for osmoregulation. Whenever there is a concentratic change, you can say concentration change in is maintained between the organism and its surrounding, that is the water content. It keeps on regulating and maintaining the balance between the system. Now how does it happens here? It procures its food. Now let us study in details, step by step, about the process of nutrition. The first process of nutrition in amoeba is called as ingestion. Now in ingestion, amoeba, since it has no mouth, it elongates its pseudopodia. Now what are pseudopodias? Now pseudopodias are false feet. Now when it elongates its pseudopodia, sensing its prey, its pseudopodia tries to engulf. It tries to engulf the food and tries to lock it. It captures the food and it tries to lock it here. Gradually it keeps on elongating and locks it here. Now what happens when the food particle comes near to amoeba? It is surrounded or encircled. This process is called as engulfing, and the membrane gets closer to the food particle, and as the food is engulfed along in a little water surrounding and forms a region called as food vacuole. So here in this region, the food gets surrounded and it forms a temporary stomach. Here we have a temporary stomach. Now the next process that takes place in amoeba, that is called as the digestion. Now in digestion, we see that this takes place inside the food vacuole. The enzymes from the cytoplasm enters into the food vacuole and the food starts breaking down. Now as the food particles starts breaking down, it forms into smaller soluble molecules. Here it forms smaller soluble molecules. Clear? Now as it forms smaller soluble molecules, gradually the food starts dissolving and it gets digested. Now next process that takes place is the absorption. Now in absorption, whatever the digested food was there in a food vacuole is directly absorbed by the cytoplasm, and gradually we find that the food vacuole vanishes or disappears. So as the cytoplasm is taking in the food, it is getting diffused and the digested food gets spreads into entire amoebic cell, and gradually the food vacuole is disappeared. Okay, now the next step that we have is called as the assimilation. Now in assimilation, we find that whatever the food has been absorbed now is used up by the process called as respiration. It is used up to obtain energy. The remaining part of the food, which is used either for growth, for reproduction, and the entering and using of the absorbed food by the cell, is called as assimilation. Now lastly, the step which is concluding is called as the ingestion. Now here what we see, that since amoeba doesn't have any specialized organ or part that helps to remove the undigested food, so the considerable amount of undigested food gets accumulated at one corner of the cytoplasm, and this undigested food suddenly ruptures out or is thrown out of the cell body, you can say. So this is called as the ingestion. So this is the step that follows ingestion. Now let us again recall and revise. Now in ingestion, the food is taken in the body by the help of false feet or pseudopodia. This process is called as engulfing. Now they form a temporary stomach, that is the food vacuole. Here the food gets digested or it is broken down into complex food material is broken down into simpler absorbable form. Simpler form. Food is getting broken down into simpler form. Now after the food gets broken down, it gets absorbed in the cytoplasm and it is utilized to release energy in the process of assimilation. Now once the food is released, it is being utilized for various processes such as reproduction, for growth, etc. And lastly, the unwanted food material is made to go closer to the cell membrane and it's made to rupture out or thrown out of the cell body, and this is the whole process of ingestion. Now I would like to mention that while you are representing your explanation in the exam paper or in copies, please use pencil for reference diagram and pencil for labeling. Do not follow this method, as I have used colored pens to explain you in better way so that your understanding gets clearer. So this was it, and see you in the next video to know more about nutrition in complex organisms.